Welcome to the Spirit-Centered Business Podcast, where we blend the spiritual with the practical for supernatural results. Now, here is your host, Bralynn Newby.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spirit-Centered Business. I'm here again for part 2 with Peter Nieves. If you missed part 1, definitely go to spiritcenteredbusiness.com or over to the YouTube channel, Rumble channel, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you enjoy the podcast, and catch part 1, because he talked about the Content Creators Bootcamp, which would have been last week for you, but you can still grab the replays if you act quickly, and we'll discuss how you can do that. Okay, but this week, Peter, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the Small Business Legal Bootcamp, which I'm excited about because I am a small business owner.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for anybody who's got a small business and you're trying to figure out some of the corporate issues and the IP issues. We're just going to train you on all these things over a full week. It's going to be great. An hour every day. It's going to be very powerful. I have a corporate law attorney who's going to be joining me. It's going to be 2 days of corporate training, 3 days of IP training on things like trademarks, copyrights, patents, trade secrets, artificial intelligence, how to use it, how not to use it, which is even more important in certain areas. But on the corporate side, like what type of entities should you have? What kind of corporate agreements are important? What should be in your bylaws? Like, we're going to go through all sorts of things. And in fact, there's a new act that came out. What's it called? The Corporate Disclosure Act, I think it's called. The corporate lawyer would tell you. Her name's Pamela Mack. She's awesome. So there's this new act that came out where if you're not in compliance with it, you can be fined up to $500 a day. So every one of us that has a small business, you need to know about this stuff. Like, this is not like just some lawyers getting together like just to come and talk. Like, this is important stuff.
Wow. That's kind of crazy. So that is coming up April 22nd through the 26th. So I have that right?
Yeah, 22nd to the 26th. It's going to be an hour for the training each day online on Zoom. But then there's going to be a VIP option. That VIP option is where you're going to be able to ask your own questions. We're going to do some additional training afterwards. This is going to be, I'm actually excited about this one because we've done Law for AI Masterclass. We've done the Protect Your Idea Challenge. We've done the Content Creators Legal Bootcamp. We've never done this because we really didn't feel like we needed to do the corporate side. But then all these people that were joining had small businesses, and they're all asking the same things, like, what should be in an NDA? What do I do with a corporate agreement? What do I do in an employee agreement? Should I have an S Corp, C Corp, LLC? Like, what do I do in different circumstances? What should be in my bylaws? And I said, you know what? Let me talk to a friend of mine who's an outstanding corporate law attorney and see if she will join me to train all of you on the legal issues that are important to you as a small business, to make sure that you don't end up in a really bad situation where you either lose what's important to you or you end up in violation of some legal rules that can hurt you badly, like financially, or shut you down. And so this entire training, get this, guys, and hear me, all right? An entire training, 2 lawyers who have many years of skill. I've been doing this for 25 years. She's been doing this for a very long time. I'm not going to say how many years because she's a woman. And so 2 attorneys you're getting for an entire week, $95 for the whole week of training.
Oh,
guys,
that's so great.
That's crazy. Like, that's
yeah,
crazy.
And I just, on the fly, I just made this up. We're going to go to spiritcenteredbusiness.com/small biz, all one word, SMALL, small BIZ, biz, small biz. And that will get you into that training so that I'm an affiliate, just full disclosure, of Peter's. So that will help me out as well. But I want to see you in there. And that's the whole point. But you said something that made me think, are you also doing 501c3s? I don't advocate people doing 501c3s, but is that going to be kind of covered?
Yeah, it's a good question. I know we're going to cover different entity types, so I can ask Pamela if she'll cover that too. I think
Yeah.
the non-for-profit entities is one type of entity, and so she'll be able to at least mention, that there's a nonprofit organization as well. There's different types of nonprofits too. There's 508s, 501s, there's a bunch of different types. And so I know there's Todd and Tamara. Do you know Todd and Tamara?
I do. They do the 508c1A or something like that.
Yeah, they do a 508c, I think.
508. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's a different type of entity that they're aware of. So
Right.
obviously, if people are seeking information on, should they do a 501 or a 508, they
Yeah.
can reach out to us and we can give them more information. I'll
Right.
probably send them to Todd and Tamara if they're trying to figure out if they should do a 508.
Yeah.
But what we're going to be covering is, should you do profitable? Should you do nonprofit? Should you
Yeah.
do S Corp, C Corp, LLC, LLP? Like what kind of entity?
That's
But
good.
then on top of that, like when you register, you're registering with the Secretary of State. That doesn't mean you own the name of your company. It means you have a corporate name, but it doesn't mean that you own the trademark. So
Mhm.
you might be able to get a corporate name registered with Secretary of State in your state and still be sued for trademark infringement for the very
Oh,
name that you registered in the state. People
crazy.
don't know this. And so we're going
Crazy.
to train you on all this.
That is so good. Yeah. And just one more spiritual check that I get as far as doing a nonprofit. Think about what that says in the spirit realm when you put a label over yourself, nonprofit. You have to make sure that you're really you are called to put that over yourself. Otherwise,
It's
God he gives us the power to create wealth. That's what it says in the Bible. It never says, here, you need something to protect you from the government from taking your wealth. It doesn't say that in the Bible. Just
true.
saying.
And just so people know, like just because you're called a nonprofit doesn't mean you don't make money. Like the Red Cross is a nonprofit. Do you have any idea how much the CEO of the Red Cross made
No, I
last year?
understand.
Yeah, so it's different categories. They could still make money. It's just like as an example, our educational institution technically could be a nonprofit because it's an educational institution. And so we
Mhm.
would have certain benefits in doing that, but we just haven't bothered. So it depends. It depends
Yeah, it
on what
depends.
you're being called to do. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So I love that you're going to teach the ins and outs of what to do to properly set things up, because I help people to establish their business in the heavenly realms, just because it says specifically seek the kingdom first. Seek first the kingdom. So when the Lord gives you an idea for a business, I help you create that declaration of trade in the heavenly realms, just like in 1 Samuel 10:25. When Samuel anointed Saul to be the first king of Israel, they wrote out what the kingdom is going to look like. What's the king's responsibilities? What are the prerogatives of the king? What is the citizenship going to look like? How is the protection going to look like? And they wrote it all out and put it up as a book before the Lord, because
Mm.
that is a covenant agreement. And so I believe that you need to have that established in the heavenly realm so that you are in partnership with heaven for the full protection, the full resources, the full assistance like that, and then come down and do whatever Peter says as far as getting yourself straight with man, but seek God first. That's just my
Yeah.
point.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Everything you're saying. What people actually don't do often, which they should do if you're building an entity, is you should have intercessors praying on behalf of your company.
Absolutely.
People don't even think of that. I mean, what
I
I'm
have
doing is I'm
8 of
seeking to
them.
transform the legal profession. So it's no wonder that I have intercessors that are praying for me all the time. And they'll ping me. They're like, I feel like I'm supposed to be praying for you right now. It's like, yeah, my stomach's been hurting a lot. And and so they just know, where
Yeah,
attacks come and where there's exposure. And these are important things. I mean, when you look at
yeah,
major ministries, they all have major intercession teams. If you look
sure.
at even large businesses, they have intercessory teams. So
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
important
I have
to
an
have these things in
intercessor.
place. Yeah.
I actually have a formatted way to do intercession that seeks the Lord in several areas of your business to ask 3 questions. Is there something I need to know about as far as seeing around corners? Is something I need to be aware of? And then something I need to do, and something that's coming against me. So those
Mm.
in multiple areas, because people hire my intercessors for their business. That comes like along with a coaching package, and we do that. So I hear you. Intercession is huge in business. And I would say if you're a kingdom business owner, along with all of the stuff that Peter is telling you about, absolutely you need everything in place, but you also need, godly stuff in place as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're going to hit the corporate side. We'll also hit the IP side and the AI side, which is important. A lot of people are using, and we discussed this last week. So a lot of people are using artificial intelligence and they're not aware of what they're doing. They're not aware of that the content that they're receiving is scraped images and online content that was grabbed by OpenAI or by Midjourney or by another program, and now you're using that in your business setting, and you can be liable for copyright infringement or trademark infringement. They're not aware of this. They're not aware of the fact that they're creating books and online courses using artificial intelligence to create the content, and that's not protectable under copyright law. So now you're selling something that other people can copy, and you can't do anything about it. Or they're publishing books that are created by artificial intelligence, and they can't own it under copyright law. So that means anyone can copy your stuff. So it's important to understand what the limitations are of artificial intelligence, even though, like, I use it all the time. Just make sure you know what you can and can't do, or how to work around the legal issues, because you're seeing the lawsuits being filed. OpenAI has been sued many times at this point. They were sued by John Grisham, New York Times, Sarah Silverman, and many other parties have sued them. And that's just one AI company. There's plenty of others. And if you're using the tainted fruit of that tree, well, you can be sued as well. So you need to understand these things. So we're going to cover that as well in the Small Business Legal Bootcamp. We'll cover AI as well on the last 3 days. We'll hit AI as it pertains to trademarks and copyrights to make sure you guys are safe.
Oh, it's really good. That's really good. So it's a whole week for just $95. That's just amazing that
Yeah, it's funny because I'm working with different big named individuals, and I told them, what we're doing. That is $95, and they don't like it. Like they don't like the fact that we're doing it so cheap. Like they said, look, that should be a $1,200 program.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be doing this. And but the reason why I'm doing this again is to transform the legal profession, to help the public, get them knowledge so that they now can be on more stable ground, not run into legal problems. And honestly, the more knowledge that all of you have, the better your relationship will be with an attorney, if you ever do need an attorney, because you know what you're talking about. It won't be, oh, well, I think I have a trademark issue, when you're actually talking about a copyright issue. Or, you're working with a software provider to create an app. You have the app created and you pay $85,000 for the app. And now you're using the app. And the next year you get a bill and you say, what's the bill for? It's because you're licensing the app. And you say, well, I paid $85,000 for the app. How am I licensing it? It's because you don't own the code. The code is protected under copyright law. The functionality is protected under patent law. You didn't know this, so the agreement that you signed with your software provider, this third party that you hired to actually create your software, doesn't mention the intellectual property law, and so therefore the result is that they own it, not you, and they get to continue licensing it to you every single year. Or you go to GoDaddy and ask them to create a website for you, and they say, hey, we're going to throw in a free logo. You get the logo created, you start using it, and then you realize every year you're paying them a fee, and you say, why am I paying a fee? Because you're licensing the logo from them. They own it. And they'll tell you can't get it trademarked. You can't own it because it's theirs. So that's why you need to negotiate with them up front and say, hey, these are things as a small business you need to know. If you don't know this stuff, if you don't realize that when you get your name on the Secretary of State's site, you don't own the trademark. When you work with a software developer, you don't own the code. When you have somebody create a new graphical design, a graphical image for you, or an NFT or a logo, you don't own the image unless they assign all right, title, or interest to you. If you hire an employee and they come into your company and they create something, do you own what they create or not? Like, if you don't know these things, which, by the way, 90% of the industry does not know these things, you need to be in this training. You need to be in this small business legal bootcamp, because we're going to cover that and a lot more. And there'll be recordings as well. So jump in.
That's really good. Is there a VIP upgrade option on this one?
There is. The VIP option will allow you to ask questions, but the VIP option is not $95, because this is hardcore stuff. Like we're like saving companies. So the VIP option is $195 more. So basically for $290, you can get an entire week of training, ask your questions, get answers. It's kind of ridiculous. When I bill at $600 an hour. She bills at a high rate as well. You're getting both of us for the entire week. So that's 10 hours of training and answering of questions. It's an incredible opportunity. So if you can do it, I suggest you take advantage of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. And in case you did miss the first time, Peter I've had him on the show before, episode, like, I think it's 103 and 104, if you go back in wherever you're enjoying the show on whatever platform and go back and look, because that was the Protect Your Idea challenge that I went through, and I did the VIP upgrade, and I'm so glad that I did, because then I got the not only to ask the question, but then I get the replays as well and the recording. So that was really good. $300 to go to do, oh my gosh, it's like a no-brainer, and it's a business expense.
It is. That's the other thing. It is a business expense.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Guys, just guys and gals, just to be clear, for you to call one of us and ask us one question will cost you over $300. Just to be clear, like, you're getting 10 hours of training for $290.
Yeah.
Replays, opportunities to ask your own questions for $290. It's like, you'll spend that just calling us and asking us one question, and you won't have any legal training on anything. You won't learn anything. We'll just handle the legal issue. So I'm trying to transform the legal profession where this knowledge becomes common. Like, if I could get it so that you in the public, as a small business owner, understand what are the obstacles that you're going to run into as a business owner. What are the things you should never do? What are the things you should always do to make sure you don't run into problems? Then you don't run into problems. Then you end up saving tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, in legal fees, because you don't end up in a lawsuit. You don't end up having to sue somebody over something. These are the things that we're trying to do to make sure that your business is built on a solid foundation and not on sand. Because if your house is built on sand, it's just a matter of time. And I'm not out here trying to, like, scare people into joining this. Look, that we don't need to do that. Like, I'm trying to make sure people understand that this is a great resource. Take advantage of it, because when I was coming up in law school and even as an attorney, this was not available. These things are not available. Lawyers have what are called continuing legal education. That's for lawyers. That's where lawyers teach lawyers. So I'm going to teach all of you to make sure you guys do well.
That's good. So after they get through this, will they be able to set up their business by themselves, or do they still need to hire an attorney?
No, you should definitely work with an attorney. Now, just to be clear, like, I created my own entity online. I went to the Secretary of State website. I formed an LLC by filling out a form. It wasn't that tough. But if you've not done this and you don't have the legal experience, there's certain things you just want to be careful of that you don't mess up, And so the reason why is because then after you do it, now if you mess it up, now you go to a lawyer. Now the lawyer's fixing your mistake and refiling something, and which ends up costing you more than if you just went to an attorney in the first place. And so you're going to have Pamela Mack there. The advantage is you can ask her these questions. You could say, hey, can I just go to Secretary of State's site and file an LLC on my own? Do I need to hire an attorney? She'll be honest with you. She'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, there is I wish I remembered the name of this. I'm not a corporate law attorney, but I believe it's called the Corporate Public Disclosure Act. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I don't seem to see it in my notes here, but oh, here it is. I do have it. The Corporate Transparency Act. That's what it's called. Every business needs to be in compliance with the Corporate Transparency Act. Here's the beauty, guys. This blew my mind. This is how nice Pamela is. I spoke to Pamela a few weeks ago and asked her if she was willing to do this. She said absolutely, because she cares about people as well. And there's an offer that we're going to have at the end of this, right? Part of this offer is going to include us, well, Pamela, working on filling out the documentation for the Corporate Transparency Act for you. So you don't actually have to hire a lawyer. Like, that's going to be included. So yeah, I'm kind of happy that this is coming together the way it is. I like that it's kind of hidden under the radar, because if you get words like this out in the public, we would be swamped. You know, if they knew, hold it, you can get somebody to fill out your Transparency Act things, teach you on all these corporate issues, IP issues all at once, like, we would be swamped. But since we're doing strategic advertising of this, so to speak, you guys get to learn about this first. So I would work with Bralynn to make sure you guys sign up.
Yeah, that's so good. So one other just question that I have, when I filled out my LLC, I have Jesus Christ as my CEO and I'm the president. I mean, that's what I felt like I needed to do, and he is my CEO. So what do you think about that?
I don't know. That's a question for Pamela, and she's Christian, by the way, as well. So you can be very open about all this stuff. I don't personally know whether or not it's a legal issue to list someone who is
in another dimension,
secular world, according to the secular world, not physically located in the United States or in, I don't.
I said his address was my address because it is, you know, so.
You'll be able to answer that question.
I asked the Secretary of State and they said it was okay. So it's
that's good.
Them, they said it was okay.
There you go.
Yeah, but not necessarily that they're lawyers or attorneys or anything.
Right. No, I think we can ask her that question. I think she'll like that question. I'm sure she's run into that plenty of times. I'm sure she has.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm establishing my business in heaven, I'm not going to bring it down to earth and say, oh, no, I didn't. Right. But, oh, no, I'm in charge. Right. No, God is in charge. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again. I know you have to jet out because you've got to get to court. So thank you so much for your time, Peter. This is really great. Make sure you go to spiritcenteredbusiness.com/smallbiz, SMALLBIZ, where we'll put the link right below, so that you can get in on the Small Business Legal Bootcamp. So it's going to be really good. April 22nd through 26th.
You got it. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to serving all of you. Come in, bring your questions. We'll give you everything we can to help make sure that you guys are well equipped.
Thank you, Peter. Okay. Until next time, stay spirit-centered. Peace out.
Hey there, SCB peeps. I want to give a huge shout out and deep appreciation and thanks to Candace Benton. She has become a super sponsor for the Spirit Centered Business Show. So I would appreciate you helping me in sending blessings and abundance back to her. Thank you so much, Candace, and you are well loved.
Thank you for listening to Spirit Centered Business with Bralynn Newby. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. The next stage of doing business by being spirit-centered is coming together in collaboration, working with spiritual principles and knowing our destiny. Join our tribe at spiritcenteredbusiness.com, and we'll catch you on the next broadcast. Peace out.